Thanks for staying. Now let's begin to look at entrepreneurship and funding. Now we have a lot of persons who go into business. That's entrepreneurship. Now they want to be able to fend for themselves, not waiting for a white-collar job. Starting that alone is not very easy. Some weeks ago, we had someone coming to talk us through the process of actually creating a business, how you can go about that. So let's assume now that you started or you're about starting. So how do you get fund for the business? Now, I have with me a business consultant. His name is Gregory Akpomejimbe, and is the CEO of GA Enterprise Support Agency, and there's also a business development service provider supporting entrepreneurs. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, you are someone who helps entrepreneurs develop a business plan, help them even go through the plan and everything. What has been your finding in doing that, your assessment of entrepreneurs you've come across in that area?
Okay, the one major finding I've come across with entrepreneurs is their purpose for starting businesses. Okay. And most of the time it's a limitation to their expansion. Most entrepreneurs start businesses because they want to survive, not actually because they want to run businesses. So when they start their businesses, most of the time, they ignore a lot of things that is necessary for expanding the business. I usually tell my clients, you prepare for the funding you want to receive. It is not at the moment of funding you start looking for, you start trying to structure your businesses. So most of the time, I tell you, when you start a business, start running your business with the intention that in 2-3 years' time, you are going to need an influx of funding. Okay. Because I can tell you categorically, every business will need funding at a point in time.
Okay. Okay, now, when you say every business will need funding at a point in time, it's like that only comes to mind for some persons who are struggling with startup capital. For some who may have money saved somewhere else or they have someone handed over to them, it's just assume, okay, I've gotten enough money to start up this business. Now, as long as the business is lucrative, I may not have need for loans or even grants. Now, why do you think that short-sightedness is there?
There's one issue with the businesses that those kind of people don't consider. A business by its very nature ought to expand. Okay. If you don't expand your business, it will die sooner or later. Okay. So, and more often than not, the expansion we need is usually beyond our capital. Take, for example, you are doing a shoe, you run a shoe business or you run an agro business. You serve 100 people every day. Okay. As a business owner, your dream should be to serve 10,000 people. Okay. But more often than not, in your lifetime, you might not have that resources, that funding to serve those 10,000 people. So if you desire to grow, you would always need funding. But if you don't, more often than not, your competitors will outlast you and out-business you. Let me use the language. When
business
the time comes, out-business you
makes
when
some
the
sense.
time comes.
Yeah. Okay, now, so knowing that you need funding, extra funding, if you like, depending at what point you are in your business, to support your business to reach that goal that you aim for or your business has the potential for. What disqualifies certain business from loans, from grants, that sometimes they could have been able to make use of, maybe coming from government, coming from other places?
The number one issue with the Nigerian entrepreneurs, quite frankly, is trust. It remains trust. That is the very reason that people that don't know you will want to give you funding. Okay. Because if you can't be trusted, if you don't have a track record of trust, it will be an issue. Another issue is record keeping. Okay. You are running your business, you don't have adequate records. Nobody will want to fund a business that does not have records.
Okay, let's take it first before we get the other reasons that some business are not able to acquire funding. Let's look at trust issue first. How can you trust a business that you don't know?
Okay. It all starts, I like using this phrase, little by little. Okay. Trust is built over time, and trust has a track record. Okay. For example, you loan 10,000, or you go and meet your vendors. Give me this goods worth 10,000. I'm going to pay you in 1 week.
Okay.
Yet when that 1 week comes, you don't pay them. You switch off your phone.
Okay.
They are calling you, and you are insultive.
Okay.
You are not being receptive. Those are the little barriers in trust people see. And you build trust gradually.
Okay, so it's not a one-time thing.
No, it's not a one-time thing. It's over time.
Okay. We'll continue the conversation after this break. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying. Now we're joined by an economist and a statistician. It's two in one. It's one person that is these two things I just mentioned. Destiny, welcome to the show. It's always a pleasure. Okay, now, you may be wondering, what is an economist and statistician doing here? You get to find out. Now, report has it that the average Nigerian business doesn't last beyond a generation.
Yeah.
Why do you think we have such, I would say, a not good record for Nigerian businesses?
Yeah, that's because of the way they are organized. You know, and most times it's organization.
Okay.
There's a general failure of small-scale businesses worldwide. And statistically, only one will survive in 5 years. Okay.
That's very poor.
That's 20%. We essentially pass the first 5 years.
You know, the best of times.
Yes.
Wow.
The best of times. So generally, for a business to survive, it has to get beyond the formalization,
Okay.
and it has to be well organized for it to survive into the next generation. Most of the businesses we have in Nigeria are mom and pop stores,
Okay.
little businesses that are not formally organized, and so they cannot attract the best managers.
Okay.
They are not able to survive the hostile environment.
Okay.
And so what happens is this: they are still dependent on strong men. Okay, that means if the pioneer of the business, if he has great leadership abilities, great management abilities, he's able to push the business out of oblivion into a force that we can see. But there's a problem, because they are not well organized around business structure. They are organized more around personal image of the person.
Okay.
When the person goes away, sometimes their children cannot run the same establishment. Sometimes they don't have people to succeed them.
Okay.
It's not only in businesses. Check most of the even churches and things like that. You see
Okay.
that,
Other organizations.
yeah, other organizations. So the problem is leadership succession becomes a problem when the owner or the pioneer, the visionary, goes away. But if a business is well organized,
Okay.
beyond the personal level, into what we call the rational level,
Okay.
that means you're able to make it a limited company, you're able to attract funds in a formal way,
Okay.
without having to depend on the personality of the promoter.
Okay.
Then such a business, we expect it to outlive the person. I'll give you examples. Think about Zenith Bank. When you think about Zenith Bank, for instance, you're not looking at
Or you think about a commercial bank,
commercial
for
bank.
instance.
Okay,
Let's not run free advert for Zenith Bank.
Okay, sorry about that. So they are not paying for this.
No, they are not. You will pay.
Let's think about a commercial bank.
Okay.
When you think about a bank, you don't think about the owner.
Okay.
You think about it as an institution.
Okay.
And so you expect it to last forever, even in your mind.
Okay.
Because it's a rational structure. Okay? The same thing. So if we're able to take our businesses from personal structures to rational institutional structures, we expect that they are going to outlive the owner. And think about that. I'll give you an example. A big company, I don't want to mention names.
Okay.
Most of the companies that we are so familiar with have lived over 100 years.
Okay. Mostly foreign companies with
They
branches
lived over
here.
100 years because they were well organized.
Okay.
Okay, so the challenge we have in this part of the world is we have not been able to move beyond the first stage of business, which is getting it out of rudimentary level to rational structures,
Okay.
so that we can use them to achieve great things. Okay, we also face such problems even in our personal lives. Because for those three things to operate, one, the people have to be knowledge oriented.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, people have to know how to run effective, organized businesses.
Okay.
That's the knowledge component, something seriously lacking in Africa.
Okay. Effective, organized business.
Businesses.
So it's possible your business is organized, but not effectively.
Your business may be organized, but it's not effective at achieving its goals.
Okay.
Okay, so you need a knowledge-based business system to outlive the owner and,
Okay.
and achieve a lot. Okay, what we have are businesses designed around the subsistence level, the survival level.
Me, my family, and I.
And possibly to feed your family and give you a decent semblance of life.
Okay.
But that is not why businesses are organized in some developed societies. We organize businesses to promote our vision and our total interpretation of life.
Okay.
So there's a way you set up a business. It doesn't just serve your basic needs. It serves a more bigger societal need.
Okay.
Are you getting the point?
Yes.
But it takes time to get beyond the animal level, that basic level where you think about food, drinks, and security.
Okay.
For you to get to the higher purpose of business.
Okay.
So for some people, business is an instrument to reach the world.
Okay.
With your value, your personal value.
Okay.
And so if you get to that point, you need knowledge to organize it. That's why we have business schools. That's why we have master's degrees in business, because those degrees are not just there just because of the certificate. They are there to teach you how to run rational mega corporations.
Okay.
And so that is what is lacking here. We don't have people. We have a lot of entrepreneurs, but we don't have a lot of professional managers.
Okay.
And an entrepreneur is somebody who starts a business, who takes the risk, who wants to solve a problem. But a professional manager is a person who is able to take that thing from where you took it and make it profitable and sustainable.
Okay. Now, let's take it from sustainability. There was something Gregory mentioned earlier. He talked about trust as one of the reasons that some businesses cannot have access to loans and grants. Now, let's look at it the other way. Apart from the person who's loaning or the institution that is offering the loan and the grants not being able to trust, do you see it as there's a trust issue in the mind of the entrepreneur that trade secrets are kept back, and so that's why you don't find that sustainability beyond the owner, beyond the generation of the owner? An example is you've been patronizing a particular business, let's say maybe a food outlet for quite some years, and something happens, maybe the owner passes on. You go there, the taste of the food has changed because the owner who started that business has gone. The trade secret was not transferred. Why do we have that issue?
As he said,
Even if the person who's taking over is a child of the owner.
it boils down to what he said, why they run their business. If they understand that they need to run their businesses structurally, a lot of things will change. Let's use the example of the food business.
Okay.
If they understand that they need to run their business structurally, they would have a recipe for all the way they cook their food.
But there's this fear that, oh, if you have this recipe, the person who's working with you can take it and start his own, become your competitor.
There are two things I tell my entrepreneurs when they ask me, when they tell me that. One, business is hard. Beyond the skill, you need to have beyond the technical skill,
Okay.
you need to have the managemental skill, and that is where the issue is. If people let them take 100 of your secrets. If they don't know how to run the business as they ought to, the business will still fail. So I understand the place, and two, there's also an issue of capital influx. Getting resources to start a full-fledged business that will be a competition is also difficult. It's not as easy as people imagine. According to some of my mentors online, they say ideas are dime a dozen. If you believe people will steal your ideas, you are just wasting. It's not the idea itself, it's the implementation, and that is difficult.
Okay, now being that as it may, I know that a lot of persons, a lot of businesses even patent their ideas, patent whatever innovations they bring on. Is there a way to patent recipes and some other business components so that it's solely yours? And so you could leave it, it passes on from one management level to another. So anyone outside your business trying to copy that, it becomes an infringement.
While that is possible, proving something like a recipe is difficult.
Okay.
Because the rule of patent, if for example you use 1 tablespoon of salt and I add 1 tablespoon plus 0.1,
okay,
the patent is null and void.
Okay.
So you can't sue me for it. So it's quite difficult for some things, but patents is more for product-based.
Okay.
Product-based commodities where, okay, for example, a table, you design a table a certain way.
Okay.
You can patent that because no matter what, it will be very difficult to change that structure of design.
Okay. Okay. Now let's get back to funds now and getting funding. In some businesses trying to access funds, some may say, oh, I've applied for loans, I've applied for grants, but I never qualify for that. He's talked about record keeping, as we talked about trust, what other reason could there be that makes it a disadvantage for a business at the point of applying for a loan or grant? Destiny.
Okay. Well, for me, it's about position.
Okay.
It's about position. Like I said, you must understand that somebody who wants to give you loan to run a business must have something to hold on to.
Okay.
Either your profitability or his interest in the loan.
Okay.
Your business must be organized in a way that people can trust that they will give you funds and then you will not misuse it.
Okay.
You are the person. A business is a way of selling what you are capable of doing.
Okay.
Okay? It's like a man who wants to woo a woman for marriage.
Okay.
It's a selling process. So how do you sell yourself to a woman? You first of all, you dress well.
Okay.
And secondly, you show evidence that you can take care of a woman
Okay.
by simply showing the woman some other things that you have done before. You are ready to go into marriage. It is not the woman's job to be looking for the qualities of a man.
Okay.
It is the man's job to sell himself adequately to the woman in terms of vision, in terms of personality, in terms of capabilities, in terms of achievements.
Okay.
So the woman can, because you can't see everything once when you see a man. But it's the man's job to inherently sell himself. The same thing. The person who promotes a business, the person who wants loan for a business, the person who wants to use people's funds to run his business must be willing to sell, pitch his business so great that a person who refuses to put money in your business, we feel that they are making a mistake. Okay?
Yes.
That requires you to have sound recording system.
Okay.
That requires you to be a registered business person.
Okay.
To show that you're not a fluke. I just don't want to do a business. I'm going on.
Okay.
3, it requires you to have regular, complete business contacts. It requires you not to run your business like a personal family estate.
Okay.
So that, because when people put money in your business, they begin to have stake in your business.
Okay.
Okay? So you can't be sounding like my business again when you are using people's funds.
That's an issue.
Yes, you should be
Some persons don't want to lose that ownership completely, like I should have the final say.
Yes, if you don't want to lose ownership of business, there's a rule for that. Don't ask for money.
Okay.
Yes, you can own your business 100%. You can run a business without getting money from people. But if you in any way want to get money from people, even your family members,
Okay.
these are people that even know you. There's something we call reputation capital. If you have family members who have given you money before
Okay.
to do something and then you misuse it, go and meet them again next time. You understand that? So there's a trust issue.
Okay.
Naturally, anywhere in the world, nowhere in the world, no matter how easy it is to get money, will a financial institution or a person give money to another person to do business, and just without doing some basic check,
Okay.
whether this person can use these funds very well. So that is why anybody who wants to get money from people to do business must first of all take a class on how to prepare financial statements, how to do budgets, how to size your market and show your potential. For instance, if I walk up to you and say, I want to open a business, you say, what is the business? I want to start selling oranges. And you say, okay, why do you want to start selling oranges? There are oranges everywhere.
Okay.
What makes yours unique? And then you say, no, it's just orange. This is a business. They say there's money inside. You are talking like that. When you finish talking, this is my picture. There are orange sellers everywhere. So why do I need to give you money for something that is banal?
Okay.
Possibly you want to do a business. And I say, what do you think? So you are able to explain the mechanics of the business. And then you're able to show me your niche, your ability to hit the market. So I can see that what you just need is not just money for business. You really need the money to move beyond that point.
Okay.
Then I'll give you the money. And I'll not just give you the money. I will also monitor what is happening in the first 1 year. And then let me tell you something, one thing about the rule of finance. If you use the first funds properly and it's making progress, it attracts more funds.
Okay.
Over time, you develop what we call credit worthiness,
Okay.
which is also a yardstick to measure your ability to generate wealth for everybody. And so quite naturally, I'll give you an example. I can mention names here. Aliko Dangote is building a refinery.
Okay.
That refinery is designed to cost about 16 to 18 billion.
Okay.
Out of which, over 9 billion of it came from credit. 9 billion. Are you surprised that banks are willing to give this guy $9 billion to fund a $17 billion refinery? They're not surprised. It's a household name. We know him as a business person.
Okay.
They have seen his creditworthiness. They know what he's capable of doing with funds. But he's already a billionaire, and then they are willing to give him another 9 billion. So the rule of finance says this: if you are successful with the little resources you have,
you attract
people
more.
tend to give you more. It is your responsibility as an entrepreneur. In fact, entrepreneurs who always talk about government did not give us loan, they are lazy entrepreneurs. The real entrepreneurs cut out, no matter how difficult it is. The rule of finance is that you should have at least 25% of the resources you expect people to give to you. For example, if I want to borrow 100 naira to do a business, the rule of finance shows that I should be able, on my personal capacity, within my small circle, generate 25% of that and put it into the business. You have to risk yourself into the business before people can be risking their funds inside. So half of that job of getting finance comes from you, the entrepreneur. What government simply does, and what private establishment, that's about organization, is that they are looking for profitable businesses to put their money into. They're not looking for who to help. Business is not a social responsibility thing you use to help people. Okay, let me be helping people. It's something you do structurally. Okay, so you are looking for businesses that can grow with your funds. And if that is what you are looking for, the business must be ready to attract such funds and run with it. Okay,
we'll come back to government and other business, other financial institutions looking for businesses that they want to invest to grow, not business to help. We'll come back to that and look at what the government is doing as regards funding entrepreneurship. But let's look at the process of pitching and designing a business plan. You explained the process of pitching even without using the word pitching. That seems to be like one big deal for some entrepreneurs. The moment you mention pitching is like, oh, it's an exam. And so the problem of how do I write this exam becomes an issue. Business plan becomes a problem. Why is it difficult for business owners most times to come up with a business plan or even to pitch a business plan? Is it about education or not even understanding the business they do?
First of all, it all goes back to what I said the first time. They build their businesses because they want to survive, not actually because they want a structured business. When you build a structured business, you get to understand the need for pitching and you get to learn it along the way. Now, the thing with pitching is this: most of the time, the person you are pitching to is as important as yourself. Because pitching is not a one-size-fits-all thing. The way you pitch for loan is not the same way you pitch for investment.
What's the difference?
Okay, for example, the financial institution that is giving out loan, their interest is not in your profit, their interest is in your repayment. So you have to prove to them that you can repay the funding in your pitch. However, the investor, their interest is not in repayment, because investment is a long-time thing. I'm not looking at you to pay me back the loan, I'm looking at you to be constantly generating profit for me. So you have to pitch to me the profits I will be getting from that business and how you are going to run the business so I can get that profit. So when you want to pitch, you have to study the person. Then the person you are pitching to is also a criteria. For example, you know beforehand that you want to meet a certain person and you would have the opportunity to pitch. Do your homework on the person. There might be some statements the person would not like. And when you use that statement, even that no matter how good your pitch is, it's cut off. So
language is also important.
Yes, very key in pitching. In fact, that's the key to pitching, language.
It sounds very technical. Beyond what you've written, beyond the very nice presentation on paper, how you deliver the pitch is also... So is this something that anybody can do, or it takes a professional to just do something like that?
As long as you run your business, you have to be the one to pitch. Because you have to find a way to learn it. As I said, it's not as technical as it sounds. It's learnable. So because the professional won't be the one to be pitching for you. You would be the one pitching. So,
and to add to that, if you want resources from people, you should be willing to make the effort to learn how to sell to them. Now, he was talking about different types of people you are pitching to. We must also understand we have what we call risk averse and risk-like kind of people. They are investors who specialize in investing in businesses that are just starting. Their risk profile is very high. They like taking high risk quite naturally. So what those kind of investors want is your ability of your business to get out of the ground for the first 4 or 5 years. They are not afraid to lose. They are risk profiles. But there are some people, they are investors. Their risk profile is very low.
Okay.
And so they like structured, organized businesses that are taking off.
Okay.
So you find your business. At what stage is your business?
Okay.
And which kind of investors will likely want to fund your type of business, and then pitch to those class of investors.
Okay.
They are what we call institutional investors.
Okay.
There are also what we call startup investors who like to fund small startups. They are everywhere. So it is the job of, for the viewers at home, most of the people, when we talk about pitching and things like this, it's a complex language for most people.
Okay.
Pitching is selling.
Okay.
It's simply marketing,
selling your plan.
marketing
Okay.
business proposal. So
Okay.
it's not a big concept. If you meet, what a professional can do for you is to tell you things you should be pitching about.
Okay.
And then train you how to present yourself when you
Okay.
are doing the pitching. If you could express yourself to your customers, you should be able to express yourself to your investors
Okay.
and non-creditors. It's a skill any businessman should not be afraid to learn.
Okay.
And you can teach a person how to pitch in 1 day.
Okay.
This is what you pitch about, this is what you're talking about, these are the numbers you'll be focusing on,
Okay.
this is what you hope to get, and be realistic, be optimistic, and when you are selling, you're just teaching basic selling.
Okay.
So any businessman who wants to get resources for people should study these things. You can
Okay.
get online, read about types of investors, sources of funds. The way you, let me give you an example. If you wanted money from your father, and
Okay.
you know him very well, I'll use my own father for example. If I wanted money from my father,
I'm already laughing because I just have a feeling that will be funny.
we must try to localize it,
Okay.
I have 2 parents.
Okay.
Even those 2 parents, they are so different. If you wanted to get something from my dad that time, the only thing he's interested in is education,
Okay.
is the long-term value of things.
Okay.
You could not tell my father that he should give money to make a certain hairstyle, for instance. It's his personality. There's a connection between his personality and what you can ask from him.
Okay.
And secondly, if you want to tell him something, you want him to do it, don't tell him 2 days to.
Okay.
Tell him a month.
Okay.
Because of that, his children must factor in that in their request.
Okay.
Daddy, I'm going to pay school fees in March
Okay.
of next year.
Okay.
And when you tell him that he's able to soak it in, he will not answer you, but he'll be planning towards it.
All right.
But my mother was the opposite person. Somebody you can dash to and just say, give me money, there, you just give it. It's that
Okay.
kind of person.
Okay.
So the same thing applies to business. You must know the kind of people you are selling to, their profile and how they think, and then market your business in a way that it suits their style.
Okay.
One great pitch for one set of investors may be nonsense to another set of investors.
Okay.
So it's a fluid thing, very
Okay.
fluid. It's something organic, something you have to be practicing as you go on. In
Okay.
business. Yeah.
So if you pitch to an investor and it doesn't, you don't get a positive response, it may not mean that your pitch is bad. It may mean that it's targeted at the wrong investor.
Actually, the thing with pitching is this: just understand. I have the goal 1 out of 10.
Okay.
So if you want to pitch and you want to get 5 people to invest in you, be ready to pitch to at least 50 people.
Okay.
That is the
You must have a
general-
very wide
Yes.
pool. Okay.
Yes. It's a 1 out of 10 conversion rate, and that's
Really?
at the best of time.
Wow. That's something that is very difficult then. 1 out of 10. Wow. So it's like by chance.
Not really by chance. It's people parting with their money. And Warren Buffett will say 95% of his response to any pitch is no.
Okay. Okay.
No matter how good you are, 95% is no.
Okay.
Another 3% is maybe, let me look into it.
Okay.
And only 1% is yes.
Okay. So it depends on the pitches.
Yeah, what that also means for the businessman is once you know that, it shouldn't scare you. You should factor it
Okay.
into your decision making. That if you want to get 1, you sell to 100.
Okay.
You add it as part of it. 20 will say, okay, let's look at it. 6 will say, let's look at it further. 1 will say, let me put my money on it.
Okay.
Factor it in, spread it. There's
Okay.
a rule that
Okay.
gets all marketing. I'm a businessman, for instance. From my personal experience, I market to thousands of people.
Okay.
Just looking for just 300 people.
Yes.
Okay.
And no in business is not a bad thing. When they say, no, it's okay, next.
Okay.
No, next.
Okay.
As a business person,
I like that. When they say no, that means next. You try the next
But
person.
it's
Wow.
something you must accept as a human being. Oh, no,
So you
no,
must
no,
have
no.
that
And
resilience.
be looking for that 1 yes out of 100 no's.
Okay.
That's the mentality of a business person.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's look at a potential yes that the federal government or the reps specifically are saying to entrepreneurs as reps approved bill, the approved special bank for entrepreneurs. Now, the bill has passed second reading. That bill seeks to establish an entrepreneurship development bank of Nigeria with the aim of providing soft loans for MSMEs. Like I said, a potential yes for entrepreneurs. What is different in this than other schemes that the federal government have come up with trying to support entrepreneurs? We have the Bank of Industry supporting businesses through loans and sometimes grants, but establishing an entrepreneurship development bank, does it sound like, yes, finally we've got it, this is specifically for entrepreneurship, or it's adding to what's already existing? Let me begin with Gregory.
For me, it's adding to what's already existing. I read a little about it when I saw the news, and I am hoping they involved the stakeholders that they were supposed to. One challenge we have with Nigerian decision making is that they just make some decisions, and you wonder, were the stakeholders really involved? So, for example,
by stakeholders, who do you mean now?
For example, entrepreneurs. Because this kind of issue, when they were supposed to bring it up, they were supposed to talk to organizations like the National Association of Chamber of Commerce that is responsible for business owners. I don't know if they did, but from my angle, they were supposed to have their intake and their feedback. If I were to run an enterprise bank like that, one issue that will be different from others that I would do apart is, one, training. There has to be an arm of the bank that is into training, constant training of entrepreneurs. They have to be an arm of the bank. Two, medium and long-term loan. One challenge with most funding opportunities in Africa, particularly loans in Nigeria, is they are too short-term. I want to start a business, I want to expand my business, I need loans for equipment. The loan is supposed to last me like 15 years. But the money you are collecting as a loan, you are telling me I need to pay it in 2 years. We need to find a way to get, particularly for capital expenditure, long-term loans, 5, 10, 15-year loan for business owners, where they use it to do capital investment and they can pay up gradually. So anything that, if the bank is going to be set up and is telling us he wants to give us 2 years loan, well, for me, it really wouldn't
make a difference.
Yes.
Let's look at the instrumentation of this bank. Now, I don't know exactly if it would be more of loans than grants, but I'm guessing that if it's a development bank, maybe for sustainability it has to be more of loans than of grants. We've seen that sometimes when there's a scheme for entrepreneurs, it goes through the MFIs, mostly the microfinance institutes, and then just very few goes through the deposit banks, the commercial deposit banks, maybe because of the kind of businesses they're targeting and the amount of loans given. Now, having this kind of bank, a development bank, as the name implies, which should be the target? Should it be a wide pool for just any business, provided it's an MSME, or there should be certain kinds of business that are instrumental to development?
Yeah, from the word Entrepreneurship Development Bank, what they are looking at is businesses that have high social impact on society. Not all businesses have high social impact. By this, you are going to look at it from 3 criteria. One, scalability of the business. By that, we mean what's the potential of the business to grow and employ a lot of people. That's number one. Number two, the logic of the business, the revenue profile of the business, the sustainability of the business. That is, how is the business making money so that it will not always be depending on the government. So
you get a loan, you repay, you come back for another loan.
So what they want is, government is not going to give loan to a business forever. So they want you to be able to start the business, get to a certain point, and then you become an agent of change. So certain businesses fit into this profile. And most of the businesses that we see microfinance are dealing with, they are called lock-up shops. They are businesses because they are high risk. So what the microfinance are doing is they give you a loan, they watch your shop. If you cannot pay, they seize the shop. They don't give loans to idea-oriented businesses. They tend to give loans to businesses that are already starting, that are small, that you can follow. But most of the businesses government is targeting that will cause the shift in this country are businesses in the heads of people. Ideas.
Innovative businesses.
Innovative businesses, that kind of what we call creative destruction.
Okay.
So we want those kind of businesses, and those businesses, billions of them are in the graves because most people had ideas, very revolutionary ideas. The only thing they lacked was money and nobody to trust them. If I go to a commercial bank and they tell me I want to do a business and I say give me money to start it, they will look at where's your collateral, what is this? Those rules. You have business has to be registered for at least 5 years. You have to have certain documentation and things like that. If for a business that is just in the waking stage, such things do not work. So the government is targeting those businesses that are well designed in mind, in paper, and there's a profile before the business. The profile is not the business profile, the promoter's profile. Reputational businesses, businesses that has to come with young people coming together to try to run a business system. And the government knows that they don't have a history yet to back it up, but they do have potential to deliver. The future Microsoft, the future
maybe Google and all this.
Let me play the devil's advocate.
That's the type. That's the type they are focusing on.
Now, we have a devil's advocate. All right, go ahead.
Personally, I don't believe they should focus on that. If your business is that visionary, you find a way to survive it. That is my belief. Find a way to let it run for a certain time. I'm not saying they should be as stringent as the bank. But as I said, ideas are dime a dozen. And whether we like it or not, the likes of Google, the likes of Microsoft, they had a little historical process, and they could prove that their idea was actually something worth pursuing before investors came. Now, take the tech industry, for example. Because they forgot that rule. Now, the tech industry is in shambles currently.
In Nigeria?
In the world, even in the world, there are a lot of tech businesses that are closing up shop because they just poured in money and they didn't look at first of all, the viability of the business and the track record of the people in it. So for me, let the development bank at least focus on, let's say, businesses that are 2 years. They are still visionary. Because it's another thing business owners have to consider is it doesn't take 1 year to build a visionary business. Microsoft took years in the making. Apple took years in the making. Amazon took years in the making. So at least, even if you are visionary, still put in something 2 to 3 years on ground with a track record. With a track record as well. Or you have to have no, let's just leave it at that. Let's not finish it up.
Okay, now let's look at sustainability of this potential development bank for entrepreneurs. We've seen other schemes set up like this. We've seen different schemes set up just to support entrepreneurs. But at takeoff, it seems good and maybe benefiting some persons. But after some time, you don't feel the impact of this kind of scheme. What should be done differently to ensure sustainability, Destiny?
Yes, personally, I don't think funding is the biggest problem of businesses in Nigeria. I think we are looking at it from the wrong angle.
So if funding is not the biggest problem, what then?
It's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is, 1, the harsh business environment. 2, the lack of proper managers, well-trained business people. Everybody wants to do a business. Business is not for everybody. Business is for people who understand the purpose of business and how to run business.
But ordinarily, they say business is to make money now. It's to make profit. If profit is not coming in, then it's not a business.
No,
as long as profits.
If you want to make money, it's very easy.
You can do a trade.
You sell it.
But when it's a business?
A business is a well-organized system of pooling resources and giving value. It's a bigger idea.
So you know which class you belong into right now. If you're just doing something and then little profit comes in, you're trading. If it's beyond that and actually giving value, then of course it's business.
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
People should learn, in fact, government should invest in entrepreneurship education.
But that's been done at tertiary level as a course, maybe in some schools, secondary
the
and...
with the tertiary level is this, with school and others. They are not designed for that. Lecturers who do not run businesses are not best teachers of businesses. The problem is that we are giving it to the wrong teachers. The best business teachers are businessmen. I studied economics and statistics. I did entrepreneurship and everything. But the lessons I've learned in running my business, I never learned any of them in school. In the real world of business, blue and green that they teach in school is not the same.
Okay.
When you get to the streets of business, you know,
You
academics is very straight. It's very straight. It's very straight. You do this,
Okay.
it's mathematics. In the world of business, those 1 + 1 is not 1.
Okay. It's a different thing entirely.
It's something you learn on the job. There's somebody that came with business acumen. You learn it, and how do you learn it? You learn it faster from businessmen.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. When I wanted to go into my business, so you see why you learn from businessmen. I went to a mentor in the business.
All right.
And I said, all my assumptions, I said, I want to start this business, help me with the idea. He started with the negative part of the business first.
Which should have really killed your morale.
He told me for the first 5 years I will suffer.
Wow.
What a profit. I said, what's that? I am a bright person.
Okay.
I said, so. I can't 5 years. I thought he was joking. He said, you are going to do this thing. You may first of all be asking yourself whether you chose the right
business
path.
Okay.
After he told me, I listened carefully, I wrote it down, and I went. I forgot about it. Then I went to the business. He was right.
Okay.
It took me 5 years.
Like you said.
It took me 5 years to believe that I'm in a business.
Okay.
The kind of business I want to be. And I had to go and meet him to thank him that he gave me, because I was able to, I soaked the failures.
Okay.
Because he told me the first year you've no need.
Okay.
Have you done business? At the end of the year, you cannot pay rent. So
basically, it has to be the environment.
Mentorship.
Okay, mentorship.
By business people.
By business people. That will help them beyond funding.
Beyond that first level,
okay.
you have to learn certain skills. How to sell, how to handle rejection,
okay.
how to plan,
okay.
how to deal with losses
okay.
in the business, how to keep records, even when you don't feel like keeping the records. As you go, you now begin to understand why you keep records.
Okay.
And when they are teaching you, just
okay.
keep records.
We're almost out of time, but quickly, in a few seconds, Gregory, what should the reps, as they consider this bill, it has only passed second reading, what should they also factor so that this development bank, if it is established, is sustainable and is able to actually meet purpose?
For me, he said it, I would have said it later, I intended to say it later.
Okay.
The economic conditions.
Okay.
No matter how good a plant is, no matter how fertile the soil is, if you water the plant with hot water, it will die. Okay.
So the business environment is one thing that the government should also look at. All right, we're out of time here, but that's the show today. Thank you very much, Gregory. I'm trying to get you Akwambe Jimbe. Wow. But thank you for being on the show, a business consultant. And thank you again, Destiny Obu, for being on the show. Destiny is an economist and, of course, a statistician. I'm Blessing Aiche. Go on and enjoy your weekend. It's a new month. Happy new month to you.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.